Hello, it's me again, that German guy that tries to speak English. And welcome to the Lebenspraxis podcast, where we talk about all sorts of things concerning the Lebenspraxis. If you don't know what the Lebenspraxis is, what that means, actually in the next episode I will talk about it again. From time to time I do a little introduction into it again, but not this time. So I want to get more straight to the point. And if you don't know who's speaking, I'm your host, Joseph Bartz, recording from Berlin, and again an episode that is recorded outside. Something that I stand for, that I do, that I spend a lot of time outside. And one quick thing is I'm processing the audio through an AI, and AI will be a word that you will hear a little bit more often in this episode, but I'm processing it through some sort of AI thing, and that takes out background noise. I would be interested if that's something that any one of you would actually hear, the background noise. I mean, like if there's a car passing or something like this. I take it out because I think it's a nicer listening experience. But maybe some of you say, hey, actually, it would be nice to have it in that sense more authentic and hearing the sounds of where you are when you are recording this. Anyway, I'm always making sure I'm not in spaces where it's very noisy. So at the moment I'm walking in a street close to where I live, and at the moment there's no cars here. Yeah, so I'm living in Berlin, but I'm not living in the city center. And like we say in German, no 10 horses would bring me to live in the city center, and actually even going there for just a little bit of time is already something I agonize about. Okay, but let's jump into the topic. In the last episode, Mariana and me talked about creation and content creation. So let's look at it. There is a scene that is a content creator scene, and that's in a sense an internet scene, because there are creatives for a long time, of course, artists and all sorts of other people that make stuff. There's of course this sort of transition point, no, from what is craft, what is artisanal work, and what is artistic work. Yeah, let's not spend too much time on that, but we know we are creating forever as humans, but there is a scene that is very focused on creating things in and for the internet, so digital things. One thing that is happening at the moment in the scene is that AI, so artificial intelligence, is getting a lot of attention. At the moment it seems that AI is picking up speed in development. Just now there was the new version of ChatGPT, so ChatGPT 4 released. I never tried ChatGPT, but I read that this is much better than version 3 or version 3.5. And now there is AI that can do all sorts of things. There's a fox in front of me that just jumped from a fence, now walked a few houses further and went into another garden. It's also a nice thing when you're outside recording a podcast episode. AI can create texts. AI can create pictures. AI can create voiceovers. And AI can do all sorts of other things, like code, like create websites, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, to some extent, it can only make digital things. Everything that would be in the real world, for that the AI would need a machine. Yeah, but with the right machine, of course, AI could also then at some point create things in the real world, and probably there's already some stuff, but that's much more difficult. So it will happen first in the digital world, and people talk about this disrupting effects of the AI and how quickly it gets better. And there is a big question to what happens with content creation in the internet. So take this as an example. The voiceover, so that you put a text into this, or you give this text to an AI, you choose a voice, and the AI will read it, and will read it very well. At the moment, this is not the case. I tried some of this, and the reading is so much better than before. Yeah, it's not like this Siri reading on the iPhone when you ask it to read something which is close to really terrible. Yeah, but it's really like a sort of actual voice of someone that cannot read very well. Yeah, but it sounds, let's say, mildly human. If you don't know it's an AI, I'm not sure how quick I would pick it up. But when I know it's an AI, I can clearly tell, okay, here the accent was put wrong, so this is not how someone would actually read it. Yeah, but what happens if this is improving much more, and you have this technology that can create voiceovers, or that can create narrations or dubbing for movies in an instant, basically. It needs some processing time, but obviously much less than human. Will voice actors still be needed as we need them today? The same goes with models. So now there's pictures that are created from AI, and they're getting better and better. And what AI cannot do at the moment, for example, is natural hands and fingers. So this you cannot create. So this is a thing that needs to be solved. Not that I think it needs to be solved, but people try to solve it. And then basically having, if you want to show a piece of clothing, I'm not sure how it will work, but maybe you have this piece of clothing, you make a picture of it, and then the AI can put that on all sorts of models. So maybe modeling will then be much more centered on the real life, like walking on the catwalk. And obviously writing is under attack of the AI. So people are already saying that, yeah, the new skill that you have to learn is writing good prompts. So a prompt is that you ask the AI to do something, and that you ask the AI to write a blog post from this and this information, and so on. So will writers become obsolete, but there will be prompters? Will that be a job in the future, that you work as an AI prompter? There's all, on the one hand, valid questions, and on the other hand, you see where we have come to in the internet, how much is just about content and less about the content of the content. You understand? It's a lot about speed nowadays, about volume of publication. And this is what many people claim is the main thing about AI, that it produces results instantly, very quickly. So something that usually takes a day, now it just takes a few seconds. But what is this content? What will happen with it? What will happen with the internet if it's so full with content, in a sense? Yeah, AI is creating content and content and content. Some people ask already, will there be a need for any photographer? Because if the AI is so good, you cannot tell. And obviously, like I can of course imagine that an AI is creating photorealistic stuff. Because if it's in the computer, what it comes down to is zeros and ones, and it's mathematical. So at some point an AI, I'm very sure, can create this. Can create photos, maybe it's already there, photos that look like this is from a real place. And people that look real, not like this digital stuff that we have at the moment where it's so clear it's not real, and basically you never use a digital human in a normal movie with normal actors, but you have movies with CGI humans, or in normal movies you have maybe creatures, or aliens or something like this. Because to replicate humans, that's very difficult, because we know how humans look like. But also here, in the end, if it's digitally, then it's just zeros and ones in the end. So it should be possible to, at some point, have a movie created by an AI that you just prompted, and it creates music, it creates all the images, it creates the advertisements for the movie, it creates everything. So now obviously the question comes up, what do we want to consume? What is important for us? Will that be a label that something is created by a human being? Will that be important for us? That a photo is shot in a real place by a real person? Or will we not care about this? And will it actually be that we consume highly individualized stuff? So instead of that we all see the same movie, we are the ones that prompt an AI to create a movie for us. So maybe at some point I will tell Siri, I want to watch a movie, and in the movie there, I would like to see an action movie with like James Bond sort of character, and he's flying an airplane on Mars or whatever, and there should be a love story in there, and some dwarfs should be also in there. Okay, let's go. And then 10 minutes later it tells, okay, I'm ready, and we can watch the movie, and it's like a good movie. Imagine this happens, that it's like a good movie. I mean, it sounds my prompt was maybe a little bit difficult for the AI, but who knows, maybe we can even make a good movie out of this. So there's unlimited creation, there's unlimited new stuff, and then in a sense everything becomes ephemeral, meaning everything disappears again. I just watched this movie, and next time I prompt a new movie. And now on the other end of the scale, we have the movies that I grew up with also, because actually when I grew up, we watched also recent movies, but we watched also quite a few older movies. Like my mother has quite a library of old movies, and it's not that she ever put me in front of these movies, but I became interested because she was interested. So I watched all this stuff like Casablanca or Humphrey Bogart movies, lots of Humphrey Bogart movies, or Cary Grant movies. This old stuff. And a few days ago I asked myself, are we still watching these movies? Are people still watching the movies like 15 years ago? Or because there is now these streaming services where you have also such a high amount of content that's freshly created, are these old movies completely disappearing? Because I'm not sure if they're available there. There are definitely some more, let's say, special interest movies, at least from today's point of view, that you cannot find. They're not digitalized. Like I had to order DVDs recently from movies from like Bresson, for example, a French director. This stuff I didn't find online. You still have to order the DVD or maybe the Blu-ray or something like this. But I wonder if this old timelessness stuff is disappearing, like Casablanca, yeah, what was called one of the best movies that was ever made. Is the new generation still watching this? Yeah, like I watched it, although it was filmed a long time ago, before I was born. And the same question comes up with books, no? Yeah, take Brothers Karamazov from Dostoevsky. So are people still reading, or will people still read Brothers Karamazov? Because here we don't have this thing happening like in movies. It's somewhat different there, no? There's all this fresh content in video that people care about, but I have the feeling that people care less about the new books. Of course, people are also reading new books, but this doesn't seem to have changed in the last 20 years about how much people are reading new books versus the classics. But here's the thing, no, about speed and about content creation. There's so much content now created, and most of it is really just for the moment. Like it disappears almost the next day, or it sort of disappears in the vastness of the content of the internet. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Bible, written a long time ago, and still people are reading this. Or Brothers Karamazov, where Dostoevsky was sitting down, writing on it for a long time, creating this piece of work that is long-lasting and long-standing. And actually he created 5 big books and more short stories or shorter things, but he was not creating so much Twitter posts, as far as I can tell. I wonder if there is some sort of anxiety in the air that helps all this, that is like a, how do I say, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, self-fulfilling prophecy. There is this fear that you have to be fast, you have to create a huge amount of content, and that's why everyone is doing it. And then it becomes sort of true, that everything gets filled with all this content. And who can follow all this stuff? It's impossible. You really have to choose what to listen to, what to read, what to see, because what gets uploaded to, let's say, YouTube in every second is more than what you can ever consume, probably. So also here is the age of responsibility. Yeah, what I claim is one of today's themes, that we live in the age of responsibility, because so many things that have been implicit are now explicit. They are not just happening. You have to choose. So there's one question about content creation. It is, if you look at the monetary benefit, because that's what many people look at. They just look at money. Yeah, what brings more revenue? Blah, blah, blah. So for this, is it better to create lots of content? Yeah, this is the disappearing content. Or is it better to create sort of Dostoevsky content? So that's on the one hand, if you look at the revenue. And on the other hand is, what do we actually want to do? Like, what life do we want to live as a content creator? Yeah. So I know some listeners are content creators as well. I don't know how many of you, probably just a certain percentage. Yeah, but there are content creators here listening. Because I'm asking this question to myself as well, no? When I disappear, what do I want to leave? Yeah, some short posts or something that is like together, like an oeuvre. Yeah, a big piece of work where things fit together with longer, deeper things. But obviously, if you do this for a living, it has an economic side. And this economic side you cannot throw out of the window. Yeah. So if you're a professional content creator, obviously you need revenue. And then the questions come up. What is producing more revenue? What makes me stay afloat financially? And because we are often full of anxiety, maybe not full, but we feel some anxiety when it comes to money, and also because we want more, we might here and there choose the path of anxiety, the path of quickness, of the dark side, actually, the path of the dark side. And please don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong about Twitter posts in that sense. But what I feel is a bit of a weirdness in this content creation theme is that the attention goes to making content instead of that you have something that is important for you, that you want to share, that is flowing out of you, and that is creating content. Like content is, you know what I mean? It is the way, or the creation is the way to bring that across. You have a story to tell, so you write a book, yeah, or you make a movie. You have a feeling connected with a melody in your mind, and you make music out of this because you feel it. And then you make some Twitter posts about this, that you created this to share it with other people. But the danger of the speed is that it becomes a repackaging and repackaging and repackaging and repackaging. And this is also what people say in the scene, that, okay, you have your message, and then the thing is just to repackage it again and again, and to say the same message again and again and again. And yeah, it makes sense, no? If you have an important message, it takes time for it to come across. So you need to repackage it, and you need to write about it again and talk about it again. Like I try to talk about the Lebenspraxis and try to find better and better words, although I feel my improvement in this is relatively negligible, like it's close to zero. I don't really feel I'm getting better at talking about it, maybe a tiny bit. Okay, but now AI comes in and can just create content. And now we realize, wait, maybe it's not just about having content out there, that there's content in the internet. But very clearly, the future is open. Because this situation that is now here has never been there before. The future is completely open. We don't know what is happening to content creation with this AI stuff. Yeah, that soon, or maybe even now, it's difficult to say if a text is written by a human or with the help of an AI or completely from an AI. And then the question is also, who's the author of this? Is it the people that programmed the AI, or is it the person that prompted that? Who can put his name under such a text? Yeah, if I ask ChatGPT-4 to write a Twitter post for me, and I post that in my name, what is that? What is that situation? So when things get blurry and foggy like this, of course, in such an age, the question about authenticity comes up. And this is why it's so important for us nowadays, no? Why this word came up. Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's because we are bombarded by the unauthentic, by the fake, by the change, by the Photoshop, by the acting and all this stuff. And I have the feeling this AI stuff actually has, in some sense, the potential to destroy the internet. It sounds very dark, and there will be solutions. There will be solutions to this problem, but in a sense, like if we don't do anything, it has the potential to create this space that is just over-occupied by AI. And I read also somewhere, I'm not sure anymore where, that if this AI gets so good, gets so intelligent, then it will also be able probably to find holes in code, so it can start to hack code, hack itself into websites or phones or something like this. And then you probably need an AI that is doing the opposite, a protective AI. And then it starts that AI is fighting against each other in the net. One is trying to protect you, and the other one is trying to, in the name of other people, not that it has a character or something like this, but people will use the AI to get your data and all this stuff. So it becomes a ridiculous situation. And the question, if you want to step out of this system, will come up, and it will come up several times, I think. It's a good reminder for us to meet in person and to go visit places in person. Yeah. So the COVID was a reminder of this. First we thought, oh yeah, it's okay, we can all meet on Zoom and all this stuff. Yeah, this was in the first months. And then we realized this is shit. This is shit to just see each other online and to talk and to the nothingness all the time and sit in front of computers and all this stuff. And maybe with this AI stuff, we realize that this AI stuff is also not what we want. Yeah. And this incredible speed is also maybe not something we want. Now speaking from a content creator perspective, because I personally, I don't want this. Like when I imagine, okay, I need to create more and more and more and faster, and I just need to understand how this AI works so I can do it. That's like a nightmare for me. How I want to work is in slowness and fully immersed. Like this morning when I was sitting with my camera trying to catch some birds on the camera, and the shot that I wanted to make didn't work. The bird didn't come. I waited there and I waited and I waited. Nothing happened. So that's definitely not a fast creation that I did there, because I actually didn't create anything. I was just sitting there, and the thing that I had planned out didn't work out. Yeah, because that's not the internet. That's the real life. But you know what? I loved it. I loved every second there, sitting there, and that it's not happening what I imagined as that would be a success. That I was unsuccessful in this. This was beautiful. All right. Let me know what you think. I'm happy to receive comments and emails from you. I prompted it more, using this word prompt, prompted it more in the beginning of the podcast, like I always said it, and more people did it. Recently that was a bit less, so I want to remind you, hey, I'm super happy to receive messages from you about the topics that I talk about here, or talk about with Mariana in the podcast. And from there, often new episodes actually appear, yeah, from what you share with me, the thoughts that you share with me. And as always, like I say, in the internet, the truth is that reach is ability to create new stuff. So if you like this podcast, it really helps if you help it increase in reach. And you can do this simply through sending it to a friend and telling the friend, hey, I like this podcast, maybe you also want to listen to it. Good, that's it for today. And the thought that I end with is, I wonder if the whole thing is maybe a little bit of a clash between different approaches and also different cultural approaches. If my German, Northern European mindset is interacting here with the Silicon Valley Californian culture that might be approaching things differently from, let's say, what is around me. But I'm not sure. That would be interesting to know what people from the other side of the Atlantic say about that, or people from Australia or Asia. Are there different mentalities and mindsets here about this whole thing, or is this just an individual thing and not a cultural thing? All right, as always, continue.